The roller coaster of an NFL season is moving right along, and it promises to be a month full of tricks, treats, and of course, touchdowns. And DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is the number one place to bet touchdowns.
Running it in from the 1 or an 80-yard bomb. We don't care how they score touchdowns. We want to bet on them. DraftKings heard us and is delivering. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score a touchdown. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. It's hard not to look at player props for Jaden Daniels every week because he is balling out there. Here's a reason for new customers to do a touchdown dance of their own. Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Jenkins. That's code Jenkins for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. You were on there for sure. Welcome to Jenkins and Jones on the Volume Podcast Network. It's Tuesday, October 8th. We're just an in media res podcast now. You're just joining us live on the podcast, mid-podcast. As always, we got a bunch of great stuff to talk about today. Talking about Shams, transactions in sports. Shams, Robert Saleh, Tyler potentially becoming a Commanders fan again. And we're joined all episode by our good friend, Claire De Lune. Claire, thank you so much for hopping on.
Thanks for having me back. Every time I get invited back, it feels so validating because it's like, wow, I didn't completely just biff it last time, you know? It's really nice.
I hate to hear that anyone has any emotion attached to whether they get invited back or not, because we literally just forget. Like, we literally just, it's like, oh, we haven't had Claire on in a while. Like, we gotta.
Well, I would never forget you guys. So.
Okay. Oh shit.
Oh my!
Painted us into a corner.
Painted you, brother.
As always, Jenkins and Jones, hosted by Dragonfly Jonez, aka Tyler.
Hey, everybody, have a good.
LaJethro Jenkins, aka John.
What's that, Bubbas?
Who's co-guest hosted by Baby Shola today.
For show.
In the studio.
Oh, you heard me? He'll be like, what we doing here?
I'm Guardy V, aka Mike.
Motherfucking
Mike.
And
that's gonna be Shola's first words, bro. He been on the pod so long. Motherfucking Mike's probably gonna be the first shit he says.
Someone be like, why you say nigga? Why you say shit? I mean, I love it though.
There's this like a meme video that's going around of the Joker that like all the middle school kids love. And so Maya has been saying that she wants to train her first baby so that his first words are a line from that video, which is, I'm the Joker, baby. She wants that to be her baby's first words. We're produced as always by the lovely and talented Jackson Saffon.
What's up?
And a phantom how you doing to Josh Rodriguez, who is also producing, but I think is off of the live because of the limited number of ports or something that YouTube has. I don't know the right word.
I'm gonna pretend like I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
good job.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing too.
Love a port.
This is gonna be our Sweetie Pies episode with Claire, because we're talking about her Shohei Ohtani piece at the end of the show, and also her connection to vice presidential nominee Tim Walz. And Claire has informed us that they're both a couple of sweetie pies. So
just some sweetie pies. Yeah. Can confirm in my limited experience. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Let's start with actually John wanted to start with a 6-month-old Panera story. Do you still want to start with that?
Remember people dying from lemonade.
You remember this, right, Tyler?
Yeah.
I think it was called Charged or something like that.
They got sued because people were having heart attacks from this like extremely caffeinated lemonade.
Yeah, it had like 800 milligrams of caffeine or something. Yeah, but Claire just told us she just discovered that a cold brew she's been drinking is essentially she's just like freebasing meth every morning.
The brand, I'm curious to see in the chat if you guys have tried this. The brand is called Busy. I think they sell it at Target. They sell it at Whole Foods. And it just was one of the cheaper cold brews. It was like on sale. So I bought it and I've just been like tweaking. And I was like, why am I so manic all the time? And I checked the milligrams of caffeine on the bottle and it's 277 per serving.
That's
which
a lot.
is
Per serving?
How many
Per
servings
serving.
is in the bottle?
According to them, it's 4, although I will say it's probably more like it's probably more like I don't drink a fourth of it every time. So I would say maybe for me, I'm drinking like half that, but even half that is still like 2 or 3 cups of coffee per serving.
You said 270, so that's like 1,080 milligrams
per bottle.
per bottle.
Well, it's like
Is
a big
that
bottle.
safe?
It's a bit, yeah. It's like a
Oh, okay. So you're not drinking the whole bottle, like it's not like
no.
Oh, okay.
I'm just making myself like, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, but I'm probably consuming like around 400 to 500 milligrams of caffeine a day through this stuff. So
That's like that Dakota Johnson story. Did you guys hear like an almost identical story from Dakota Johnson where she was like, "Oh, I didn't know. I thought Celsius was just like a health drink.
Yeah.
It's like marketed as like a healthy
She thought it
energy
was,
drink
like,
or
naked
whatever."
juice.
And she
Yeah.
didn't know it was caffeinated. And she was like, "I thought I couldn't sleep, and I thought I was just so like inspired by the art of the movie I was working on." And she just was actually drinking 3 or 4 Celsiuses a day.
yeah.
Only an artist, an actor, or whatever would say some shit like that. I thought I was so inspired by the movie I was
You
working
know
on.
how insane.
I
that
couldn't
is.
By
sleep.
Madam Web.
Nigga, check the fucking
Yeah, literally.
drink that you're, you know what I'm saying? Get the fuck out of here. That you're addicted to, that you need every day. The fuck?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Shout out to my semi-problematic twin, Dakota Johnson.
The chat said
my bad,
Claire was
my
tasting
bad.
all the colors of the rainbow, and then someone else said, "Is that the stuff you're supposed to dilute?" And I think it might be like cold brew concentrate, not just cold brew.
She's
No,
supposed to
it
put
says-
a gallon of milk in it. Yeah.
Right.
It says on the front, like in big bold letters. I just tweeted a picture if you guys want to look, but like
Okay.
it says 277 milligrams per serving. Like they intend for you to consume 277 milligrams at a time
Hey, life is
because
hard,
they want
man.
me dead. That's why.
Drink water. Drink water.
But so,
There was some study that came out about what a huge percentage of the effect of coffee and of alcohol is performative. That like if you give people like coffee that doesn't actually have caffeine in it or whatever, that it's like the ritual is important, and it's like most of the physical, because all caffeine does is make your heart beat faster, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you drink cold or warm water in the morning when you wake up, it's just that what wakes you up is
Similar
your
effect.
intestines moving. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah.
that's my anti-coffee.
Radha drinks coffee because she likes the ritual of it.
Yeah, for sure. No, and that's like 100%. But that's when people are like having heart problems. It's like, this is not necessary for you. Like,
It's worth the ritual, apparently.
Tell
Yeah.
to judge Mike.
yeah. All right. We've got the big news yesterday that Shams has officially been called up from AAA, with all due respect to the Athletic, to
Oh my
take
God.
over Woj's spot as the senior NBA insider. Well, you knew that he must have had something in his contract because they announced this shit yesterday, and he's working for ESPN yesterday. He's not finishing a contract out. Like, it reminds me of the guys who play in the Euro leagues who have an NBA out clause in their contract. That's like, hey,
Yeah.
if the Wizards ever call, goodbye to Uzbekistan. I'm fucking gone tomorrow. Like, he's not finishing. He didn't finish the week out with the Athletic.
No disrespect to
Facts.
Uzbekistan. You know what I'm saying?
Tyler, what did you think? Are you surprised by this at all? And is it a nice full circle moment for those of us who've been following Shams's ascendancy as he's tried to rival Woj over the years?
Yeah, I mean, once we saw Woj step down, everyone knew this was going to be the next step here. But yeah, I'm still gonna. I think it's gonna take a while to get acclimated to a non-Woj sports NBA world. I will say though, I did appreciate the warm welcome that Woj gave him.
was nice.
Yeah, I think it was Rich Eisen's show, I think. But yeah, you know, he basically said, you know, he read Sham's statement, and in Sham's statement, he mentioned how he's looking forward to working with like all the wonderful people at ESPN, and Woj was like, Woj was like, that's what I love the most about it. They're the people too, and I'm sure he will too. And it seemed like a very heartfelt thing because we saw the whole love fest from Woj from his coworkers when he stepped down, where everyone had a personal story of when he just took time to them all, on a personal level and how much that meant to him. So Woj seems like a really solid dude, and you can tell that when he kind of passed the torch to Shams there, that there's no bad blood there. That's just NBA Twitter shit,
For the most part.
I was gonna say, you don't think he hates it a little? He hates it a little, right? Like that's his protege. No?
I think those are
You
the
think he's
only
just
two
happy for
people-
him?
Those are the only two people that exist the way they existed. You know what I'm saying? Like they're the only people that really understand like being in the trenches at the level that they were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like there's a certain level of respect, even if there's a wee bit of competitiveness. I don't think it gets to the point of hate. Like that's a wild way to live life. You know what I'm saying?
I want to know who is putting the info out there because the ESPN, it had been leaked that Adam Schefter might become their, I forget what the term was, but it was
NBA
like
NBA
insider.
No, but it was
insider.
no, it was like executive insider or something because he was going to still do the NFL. And then they also talked about Jeff Passan, who's their baseball guy, who I love Jeff, and I'm happy that he'll get to just keep making fun of Padres fans instead of being an NBA guy. But like, I don't understand. That was kind of funny because the whole time you're like, no, they're going to hire the guy who doesn't currently work for the company that we all know they're going to hire. Like Tyler said, like this is the only other guy who's done this job. And if ESPN hired like anyone, even if it is Adam Schefter into that job, like you're just going to see Shams, tearing his arms off to beat the guy at the story. So like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. The Jets this morning fired their head coach, Robert Saleh. There'd been some much publicized sort of back and forth and disagreements between he and elderly quarterback Aaron Rodgers. But the Jets have not had a good start, off to the same record start that they had the year before they got Aaron Rodgers. And he's got basically the same stats. So were you surprised by this move, Tyler? And what do you think of the way Aaron Rodgers has affected his legacy or changed the narrative with this time he's got in New York?
Nah, it's like, I mean, I think that we all kind of knew that this was probably going to be the course too when Aaron Rodgers came on board. I think that we know that, he's got a reputation of not getting along with his head coaches, and Robert Saleh has not had an impressive record there. I don't think he's cut out to be an NFL head coach, and no personal shots to him. It's just not a lot of people who are built to be that. And they had like the worst record in the NFL under his tenure, and then you throw all that in the mix, and then the fact that Aaron Rodgers just flat out doesn't like the guy. If you're not good at your job and your quarterback ends behind you, your days are numbered as an NFL coach, bro. Like that moment they had last week when they were closing out the half, going up on the Patriots, and Robert Saleh hugged him, and Rodgers looked at him like, "What the fuck was that?" Did y'all see that clip?
Yeah, he pushed him off.
Pushed him away.
Yeah, he pushed him away and looked at him like, "Dude, what the fuck?" Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, "Yeah." I didn't know it was going to be this immediate, though. I didn't know like it was going to be 2 days later that he was going to get the boot. But I was like, "Yeah, he's just not going to be there much longer, bro."
Is there something to NFL head coaches needing to be a little bit slovenly? Like, I feel like all of the successful NFL coaches are like, sort of have a little bit of a bum type vibe to them. If not Bigums, it's like, it's like, you're cutting your hoodie up but you certainly aren't like, combing your hair. Robert Saleh, I never saw one dot of stubble on that man's head the entire time. That takes maintenance. That shit does not happen like naturally unless he's getting his head waxed, which I don't think.
Doesn't he have like 10 kids too? And that's not hyperbole. I feel like it's literally close to 10.
Wow.
That's a lot of kids.
So he was shaving his head as a way to get
precautionary
time to himself.
7.
I think
7 according to Google.
7 kids.
It's closer
I'm trying
to 10
to
than
imagine my kids plus
0.
John's kids plus 3 more kids. That's a lot of fucking kids.
It's a lot of kids. That's my hypothesis, is that like the work-life balance as an NFL coach is so bad that if you have literally a single other thing you care about or prioritize in your life, you're not going to cut it. Like these guys need to like sleep on the couch in the film room. Bill Belichick has, now that he's retired, he has a girlfriend who's like a quarter his age, but generally speaking, I'm pretty sure he like slept, breathed football.
Think about what you know about their personalities. I know that Andy Reid likes cheeseburgers. That's the only thing I know about him as a human being. That's it.
There's
Bill
probably not a ton
Belichick.
else there. Like
Right.
that's probably
I
that's
mean,
probably
that-
most
that-
of it.
That sort of hyper focus on football and let everything else fall by the wayside worked for Aaron Rodgers for 20 years. He doesn't have a family. So, I mean,
Damn, there's been some
Yeah,
shots
yeah.
fired on the pod today.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
Athletic catching strays, Aaron Rodgers.
hey, that's the bet Aaron made, dog. So, yeah.
Aaron's comfortable with himself. I don't think Aaron would even be mad if I said that.
No, yeah. I mean, I think it was inevitable because his performance hasn't been great this year, and he made a whole big show of how he was going to be the first person to come back from a debilitating injury, like nothing had ever happened. And they're not going to get rid of Aaron Rodgers. So it was sort of somebody needed to like be the scapegoat in the situation. And I think that was kind of inevitable.
Trying to come back from an Achilles in your 40s, like I'm 40, and like it takes me a while to come back from like walking my kids to school. You know what I mean? Like, which is not an injury. It's actually like light, healthy exercise. But it's like you have Achilles with an 8-month recovery.
What
Yeah.
serum did he say he was taking in order to get there? Was it deer antler? You know, I mean, what?
It's
what
just a lot of
special
ayahuasca.
powder?
Ayahuasca.
Okay,
A lot of ayahuasca.
That was
Mul-
going to
multiple ayahuasca trips.
Interesting.
I think
Okay.
the thing that pissed me off about his
Doesn't
grift
surprise
about
me.
the Achilles shit was that he actually did get a really new advanced surgery that was like
Yeah.
with a using a like I think it's like a plastic cup to attach to the heel bone, which is like, you know, really advanced new medical science. It takes like a ton of like peer reviewed data to, you know, implement a new procedure like that. But he was sort of pretending that it was like, well, his vibes were just too strong for the Achilles injury. It's like,
That motherfucker.
it's like, no, actually, it was like, this is what for all of the flaws with it, and there are many flaws, this is what the medical establishment exists to do, is to like come up with a way to help you heal faster from this surgery. Anyway, Tyler.
Hey, did y'all hear that? Robert Saleh was planning on firing the offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, before
Yeah.
he got
Really?
fired. Yes. Have you ever been in a situation where the boss who
Whoa.
you knew had it out for you got the boot before you did? I know Nathaniel's on cloud motherfucking 9 right now. That is a great feeling, bro.
That's my dream. And I had the opposite happen to me, which is that I had a boss that had it out for me when I was a cocktail waitress, and he got me fired. And I was like trying to tell like the higher ups, like establishment, to be like, this guy's terrible, like blah,
Yeah.
blah. And he fired me. And then literally I heard like less than 2 weeks later, he got fired. And I was like, damn,
Yeah.
like,
Damn.
the
Fucking
order
just
of
took some
operations
PTO,
around here.
right?
Like,
Yeah.
That's
Damn.
interesting about Hackett though, because that's also Rodgers' guy.
I think
Like
that
that would have
that's what
Yeah,
that would
that's
have
probably-
even
that
that
was
would have
probably the
even
deciding
furthered the
factor.
divide probably.
that was the
Yeah.
escalation of the personal thing. And, you know, and I respect Robert Saleh. Just like, you know what? If you're going to fuck my shit up, I can't fuck anything up for you, but I could at least fuck your boy shit up.
right.
Some bullshit.
I'm leaving here with something.
I'm leaving here with something.
I also-
crazy.
I also respect
Yeah.
that there was some reporting because a lot of the Niners fans are like wanting him back as their defensive coordinator since their defense hasn't been
Hell
so good
yeah.
this year. Right. But there was rightfully so. But there was immediately reporting that he is like, I am not taking a job this year. I'm going to chill for a minute and then get a new one.
With
like,
my
in-
7
in-
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
fired,
Don't even call.
fired,
Do not even
fired
call.
fired coach, best job in the world, as we've always said. Let me pull it up because someone on Twitter broke down how much this dude is going to be getting paid out over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
like by the day.
Okay, so it's 2 years left on his contract.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. So Twitter account ML Football broke this down. He is going
The
to
homie.
be making. He is going to be making $583,333 per month. $134,615 a week, $19,178 a day for the next 2 years.
Let
For
me
doing
borrow a
nothing,
week,
if he
my
wants
nigga.
to.
Let me borrow a week, nigga. I just
Bro,
need a
20
week.
racks a day for getting fired.
Hey,
Come on, man.
Let me borrow. a
Fired
week
coach,
of
dog.
bread,
Best job in
nigga.
the world, man.
It really
I get you.
is. Like, all you have to do is get hired as a coach. That's
That's
the
it.
win. But getting hired, signing your name on the dotted line, then like let the chips fall where they may, because best case scenario, you live in glory. Worst case scenario, you're rich as hell.
Yeah.
Like,
the man is getting paid
works out great.
$20,000 a day to not deal with Aaron Rodgers.
God.
what a dream.
That's the dream. Yeah.
Come on, man.
No one's waking up tomorrow in a better mood than Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's even for him professionally almost a best case scenario because he was unbelievably successful as a coordinator, and no one is going to blame him for the way things have gone with the Jets. Like,
No.
no one's gonna say like, "Oh, that would have been." I think Nick Wright said on Cowher's show today, he thinks that's the 29th best head coaching job in the NFL right now.
Like, Aaron Rodgers does not sound like a very easy, co-conspirator.
Yeah.
I think if you're
clamoring for that.
I know people who played with him who said he's a great, like an all-time teammate. And Marshawn Lynch has spoken on that. I know someone, obviously friends with someone who played with him in Green Bay, said he's like top-notch teammate as a quarterback, like the anti-Russell Wilson. But outside of that one sort of like grouping, you don't really see a lot of coaches who enjoyed working with him. Jackson brought up the stuff with his family and everything else. So I guess at least he's a good teammate. I don't know. I wouldn't want to coach him.
Unless you could get fired right away.
I'll take the buyout though. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah, shit. Let me throw my application in. Tyler.
Yes.
Where are we on the Commanders fan watch? Are you back yet?
I came to
you got close this weekend, bro.
Yeah, look, this is where I'm at with it, right? Next 2 games, they're playing Baltimore this week, playing the Panthers week after that. If they beat the Panthers, I'm back on board. And I know people are like, wait, Baltimore and the Panthers, so if they beat Baltimore, you won't be back? No, I will not be back on board if they beat Baltimore, because you know why? Baltimore is a good team, right? And if they go to 5-1 after beating Baltimore, but then lose to the Panthers, that will be the most Washington ass shit that ever happened, bro. And I'm not signing up for the same Washington football. You have got to win the game that you're supposed to win, which is against the Panthers, to prove to me that it's a new day. That's where I'm at. If they beat the Panthers, I'm back, bro.
And if they lose to the Panthers, we'll reevaluate after that Cowboys game.
Yeah. We'll see after that.
Because I feel like Jaden Daniels gets out there and starts motherfucking the Dallas Cowboys on national TV. It's going to be tough for you to harden your heart.
He is so good. Like let alone rookie of the year. Like he's in some MVP conversations.
That's what I was gonna say. Could he win both? Could he win rookie of the year and MVP?
I mean, if he beats Lamar Jackson is now the MVP favorite. Not that they obviously offense versus offense, they're not playing against each other directly. But if he beats the MVP favorite next week, then he's already going to be in like a top 3 in the voting.
Jim Brown in 1957 is the only other time it's ever happened.
Wow.
That's if you're getting mentioned with Jim Brown, bro, but yeah, man, he's got like 1,200 passing yards, 300 rushing yards. Like he could possibly rush for 1,000 yards this season, which would be insane. But yeah, the kid is phenomenal, dog. I'm a big fan of him, regardless of how it goes with my Washington fandom, So
yeah, for sure. But I saw on your Twitter timeline, I believe that it was a tennis player who's signing camera lenses with the Commanders record and shit, like
5-4-1. Yeah,
it feels like there's a lot of people in your boat who are like, and genuinely, if there's a professional team that it's like emotionally healthy to distance yourself from, it was the Daniel Snyder owned Washington football team. Like,
yes,
like all rational people stopped being fans of that football team. So, but I feel like there's a lot of people like you, specifically like you brought up, because of what happened with RG3. It's like, I don't want to expose myself to that hurt again. But the more fun the kid is, it's like hard not. That's what we all want as football fans. You want that quarterback. You want to root for the team that drafts Pat Mahomes and have 15 years of good memories.
yeah. Jaden is the one, but I am for sure guarded here, because in my lifetime, the best offensive prospect I've ever seen as a Washington fan was RG3. We know how that story went. Coaching negligence just ran that dude off the rails his second year. The best defensive prospect I've ever seen was Sean Taylor. We all know how tragically his story ended, RIP. So yeah, I'm very much guarded about getting invested in the bright rookie here, so.
Okay. We'll track it. The Panthers game. That's such a wise decision. Like, I don't care about what happens to the Ravens game, win or lose to a good team. That's football. But if you beat the shitty team, if you beat the worst team in football,
win the games you're supposed to win, because Washington has a history of not winning the games they're supposed to win, right? They got to show me some new day, bro.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Claire. You had on Friday, a big Shohei Ohtani feature drop in The Guardian, which I encourage everyone to go check out. I know you were at the Ravine for a couple of really exciting games. And you and I were texting, like, I feel like it's sort of insane given that there's literally been books written about this dude, but no one's really gotten into his personality. I feel like there's been a lot of kind of like, quite frankly, racist or Orientalist sort of narratives from American baseball media of like, oh, he's got a good work ethic because he's Japanese.
Yeah,
like,
there's so much of that. And they're even in the comments from my piece, and like the responses on Twitter and stuff when the piece came out, there's a lot of people being like, you should really give more credence to the fact that so much of his personality is just his culture. And I'm like, or he's a really unique player and a unique individual, and he's really uncommon in sports. And it's not directly correlated to the fact that he's Japanese, although of course, like there's going to be some differences in culture and some, like, I mean, I do think like the fact that he, is like so respectful and etc. Like some of that comes from like as Americans we're assholes and no one ever checks us, and that's not the case in every culture. But I think he sounds super like funny and like kind of like a little kid, and really just like wants all the guys in the locker room to like him and like wants them all to be his friend, which I think is just like so incredibly lovable, as a characterization. So the stuff that struck me about him when I was reporting for that piece and talking to people in the locker room. I mean, I talked to like coaching staff, I talked to a bunch of players, tried to talk mostly to players that from my research were like pretty close with him and like had spent a decent amount of time with him. And it was just that every interview was one-on-one, and the same exact stuff kept coming up every single time, which is like, he's actually really funny. He just wants to be one of the guys. He's showed a genuine interest in getting to know me and my interests and wanted to know more about me. And just that he's sort of like, when he's in the clubhouse and when he's off the field, he's just like a really, really normal guy. And then as soon as he steps out on the baseball diamond, he becomes like Shohei Ohtani, the baseball star. So I think that's kind of rare, at least in American sports, for that superstar prototype. Like we're starting to see more of it, but I think it's rare to see a superstar that is so like affable and like easygoing and happy-go-lucky behind the scenes. And then so fierce on the field.
Right. And doesn't seem overly concerned with his gifts, right? Like seems like, which if you consider how unique of a player he is incredible, because he has so many skills other people don't have. You mentioned the cultural background of like, like youth baseball in Japan is like all of the, in my opinion, all the worst stuff about American youth sports culture times like 100 in terms of overuse and stuff like that. Like they famously will have 4 or 5 hour high school practices where they take 10,000 grounders each and stuff like that. So there's been quite a lot of reporting about the damage that physically this does to players. And the fact that he sort of sails out of that cultural philosophy. Obviously, you can't say unharmed because he's had the 2 surgeries on his elbow, but like with just this like super bright, sunny disposition, wanting to, like you said, wanting to fit in with everyone else when he is such an alien. I don't know. I feel really lucky that he signed with the Dodgers and not the Mariners. And then I get to see the next decade of his career,
And like another thing that I kept hearing over and over again when I talk to people is that he doesn't want to be treated any different. He doesn't want to be, like treated as like the star or anything like that. He wants to just be treated exactly the same as everybody else. He treats everybody exactly the same, top to bottom. And that's another thing that feels kind of rare to me, is I think even when guys are, have like a childish humor to them or are able to have a good time, at the end of the day, there is a hierarchy in most professional sports locker rooms. And, like Kawhi is allowed to commute to practice from San Diego or whatever because he's Kawhi Leonard. Like there's stuff like that, and it's just understood. And I kept getting told over and over again that Shohei does not want that. Like he doesn't want that special treatment. He just wants to be one of the guys. He wants to be treated like everybody else. So that felt really special to me, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it's impossible to imagine, quite frankly, like if you come into the NFL as the clear-cut best player of your generation, it's impossible to imagine that attitude. I mean, obviously, and we're all Braun fans here, but you can't imagine that of a player of LeBron's status coming into the league being like, no, I want to, put as much distance between myself and kind of the trappings of fame as possible and just be with the guys and not get anything special or different. That is super unique to him.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. You've also got a connection to one of our other favorite sweetie pies.
All the sweeties.
All the sweeties. Can you explain, and I don't remember if I told Tyler and John about this. Can you explain your connection to Tim Walz?
Yeah. So I went to middle school and high school in Minnesota. and I went to middle school in southern Minnesota, like small town southern Minnesota. And I had a friend who went to school in Mankato. That's not where I went, but I had a friend who was going to school there, and her teacher was running for Congress, and she was volunteering on his campaign after school at the DFL offices, and like invited me to come with her to like help volunteer on the campaign. This is in 8th grade, after school, like 1 or 2 days a week. And my mom is super involved in politics, so I knew that it would make her very happy if I was politically active. And like also it was just like a cool thing to do after school. And that teacher was Tim Walz. So this was his first congressional campaign. He was literally, his standing job at the time was a public school teacher and coach at my friend's high school. And the campaign was super small. I mean, there was maybe like on any given day in the campaign offices, like 5 to 10 of us. And yeah, he's just like a delightful human being, extremely friendly and warm. And I mean, all of that stuff that the affectations on TV, I feel like are pretty fundamental to his personality. I mean, I will say with the caveat that he's had, what, 2 decades of a political career since then. So, like, I don't know, how much being in Washington all that time has changed who he is as a person. But I can say that in my personal experience with him, in a really like small one-on-one setting, he's delightful.
He seems like a solid dude. Like, the story that kind of swayed me on him was when we found out in like 1998, 1999, when he was the defensive coordinator for the football team at his job. He also was the teacher ambassador for the Straight and Gay Alliance at his school in 1999. Like, when no one was watching, when he had no aspirations of being a politician, So I think that story right there, that was like a testament to, this dude is really who he, says he is and who he comes across as.
I mean, in my experience, I think he's just kind of the perfect example of the kind of person who should be in politics, which is somebody who just actually wants to change the world and thinks that that's the best way to do it. I mean, I think we differ on a lot of things. I mean, I think he's a little bit more center than me on like the military and stuff like that, for example. But for the most part, it's like I'm not going to agree with every policy from every politician, and I'm clear-eyed enough to know that. But if you're in politics for the right reasons, which is that you want to serve your constituents and you want people who don't have a voice to be their voice, in Washington, like those are the people who should be in politics, at the end of the day, even if you don't agree with them on every single thing.
Well, my number one thing to get involved in politics is that you have to, if I'm going to believe in you, you have to have been forced into politics, basically. You know what I mean? It's like anyone who wants to get into politics, I'm inherently like, oh, Jesus, like, what is this person's defect? And I'll admit, so Tyler is actually, I think the first like super pro Tim Walz person I knew was like immediately like, I really want this to be the vice presidential pick. And one of the things that they mentioned in his bio was that your friend's class had kind of like dragged him into running for office. And I will admit that even though I liked the clips that Tyler was sending us of him, I wouldn't say roll my eyes, but I was a little suspicious of the like, was he really dragged into doing this? Or is this just like a nice story that got added to his bio? But from your friend's accounting, that's actually accurate that they really did like kind of bully him into running for office.
I mean, I think he, is a born politician in the sense that he's really good at it. But I think what it's taught us, like what watching his political ascendance has taught us, is that there's probably a lot of really great potential politicians out there in other leadership roles, like coach, like, whatever, that will never get into politics because politics is so depressing and there's so much just inherent hierarchy and like it's so difficult to break through. Right. But I mean, I think that the tenets of what makes a good leader and what makes a good politician is like understands how to speak to people, understands how to deliver a message, like can put others before self, like, all these things that, someone like a football coach or the, teacher leader of the LGBTQI alliance or whatever, like would probably be really good at. But instead we get a lot of like egomaniacs who are just power hungry. And that's a shame.
Well, I think I mean, obviously I can't say not to get political because we're talking about politics, but I think like the structure of the way that our campaigns are sort of almost necessitates an egomaniac, right? Like the idea really behind a representative democracy is that if we were electing a president of this Zoom call, we would all get together and decide between ourselves, oh, okay, Jackson's on his shit, he should be doing, oh, okay, Tyler's the funniest person, so he should be the one in charge. Not people saying, I want to have my name on signs and buses and billboards everywhere for 18 months while I campaign for president, you know, but it's so costly and the campaigns are so long that you do end up with I think kind of a specific personality type, which is not necessarily conducive to the personality type that any of us want actually representing us, you know?
No, for sure. And I mean, I do, obviously, it's not like other countries don't have issues with like egomaniacs running for political office. I think that's kind of a universal problem. But I will say, I do think it's very problematic the way we treat political campaigns like sports in this country, and the way that like it is kind of an entertainment product in and of itself, and in the way it's covered. And it doesn't have to be that way. Like, we don't need a 2-year long campaign for president. We don't need, we've seen with Kamala's campaign, like she's had a couple months. I feel like, you know, like that's plenty, honestly, at this point.
The questions that I have about what she would do have been answered in the 2 months.
Right. And in all the lead up time is really theater, you know, and sports. So I think that, that kind of also lends itself to like characters coming to the forefront versus politicians with policies and ideas and, you know, that sort of thing.
I mean, having lived in California in college when we had our first successful recall election that then put Arnold Schwarzenegger into the governor's office, I'll never not see how thirsty people are for politics to be that type of entertainment. Because we had like radio hosts were running for governor, porn stars were running for governor, and actors were running for governor. And one of them was apparently serious and won, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like,
I definitely always want to like couch any sort of like indictment of the voting populace and what they go for with the disclaimer that voter suppression is like a super real issue in this country. And a lot of the people who are, you know, informed and want really great representatives are having their votes suppressed, you know, especially in the poorer parts of the country. So like, obviously just don't want to have like get on my like coastal elitist like high horse and be like, you idiots just want another idiot in office. You know, it's like people are trying really hard to vote for great candidates and their votes are they're making it increasingly harder to do so. But I do think we should probably try, for the betterment of democracy, to like work some of the theater of it out if possible.
That'd be great. I would really appreciate it. Tyler, could you take care of that?
Yeah,
that'd be great.
We elect Tyler to be the one who fixes American democracy.
Absolutely not. I have never had a desire to be in politics, bro.
Yeah, same. That sounds like the worst
job
to me.
See, that's why. Like, that's why you would be at the top of my list. I feel like Jackson secretly wants to be president of the podcast. You know what I mean?
No, that is a firm no for me.
How could he take care of that fiddle leaf and be the president of the podcast?
This is too much effort. Exactly.
Those are 2 full-time jobs.
Dude, you should have seen me trying to revive our Pathos in here. It was in the ICU the other day, but
oh man,
it's a damn shame.
But one more thing on Walz to sort of put a button on that is one of the things I like about him is how normcore he is. Like we talked about which is similar to Shohei actually, but John was mentioning the other day, and we all agreed how when people curse and like around him, it makes him feel more comfortable. And not that Tim Walz curses, but he like talks like a normal person. So many politicians, and I have said that a lot of times about bosses that I've had. If they just talk to me, or doctors, if they just talk to me like a normal human being, not like a patient or like a coworker, just talk to me like a person. Yeah, it makes you immediately more relatable and immediately more comfortable around you. And Tim Walz has that sort of quality, and it's one of my favorite. And it's I think why, even though I'm not as obsessed with the term as everyone was a couple months ago, but it's why the whole weird thing caught on. Because he's just talking like people talk. He's not trying to like convince you of some weird thing by talking around a subject and then getting to it on the back end. He's just like talking about what is happening and what we are all seeing.
Right. That's the thing, is I think there's such a reluctance by politicians to just call things as they are and call it as they see it, because they're constantly have all these like voting metrics and stuff in their head, and they have all these people around them saying like, well, don't alienate these people, don't do this. And Tim Walz is just like, it's freaking weird what they're doing over there, man. And we're all like, it is. Thanks for saying that. Like, so it's instructive about you can take a little bit more of a risk as a politician than I think they've given themselves the bandwidth to, as far as just like, yeah, just talking like a normal person, and just if you see something, just saying it and acknowledging it instead of trying to find like the most careful, considered, media trained way to say it.
It's just crazy that that's like how asymmetric it was, that like there were Democrats who are still running for office that way in the post-Trump era. But you know what I mean? That's just like, because the one thing you say about Trump is like he connected with his people by not talking like a politician. I disagree with everything he said, but like that, but like clearly there's a hunger for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. We're going to wrap up with Dookie Butt of the Week. I'll go first. My Dookie Butt of the Week is Elon Musk.
That was going to be mine too. for the appearance at the Trump rally.
Okay, do you want to take Elon and I'll take John then? My Dookie Butt of the Week is John for his computer dying in the middle of the podcast.
Is that what happened? I was wondering.
He texted us. He said it was plugged in, and then he left to go make Shola a bottle, and when he came back, it was off, and it is not restarting even while it's plugged in. I have had this happen. Tyler, plug your ears, with an Apple laptop, and it is the worst. It's the worst thing. It's the worst feeling. It's completely helpless. It is like when the internet goes out for 10 minutes and you realize like, oh, I've given my entire life over to the internet. I'm a completely helpless baby. So anyway, John and his technological issues are my Dookie Butt of the Week. Tyler, I have no idea who you're going to pick.
I'm going to go with Elon, bro. Just for the appearance he had at the Trump rally. The motherfucker is just a dork. I don't know how to say it any more plainly than that. Like, you saw him hopping around, bro. When I saw that footage of him hopping around, I said, I need to Google how old this man child clown is. He's like 53, I think. I saw that shit. I was like, dog, I just flat out don't like the dude. He's just the biggest tryhard on the fucking planet, dog.
Yeah.
He, I think it was, I don't know if it was Bo or someone else who commented first on the lack of verticality from Elon Musk and the jumping, but
he put so much into that little 3-inch leap. He summoned everything in him. He like powered up like, that motherfucker jumped this high off the ground.
Yeah, he did the Vertimax like full. Yeah, and then and what he got in return was a look back over his shoulder from Donald Trump, where Trump is just like, do you see what I have to resort to? Like, do you see what I'm left with in terms of allies is this fucking guy?
Oh, that was a pretty good limited fake Donald Trump.
Yeah. I try,
Also, if he's going to give you that look, like, imagine how cringy you have to be for that person to look at you like, ugh.
He posted some joke that like fell flat on Twitter, and it was a horrible joke, and he deleted it, and then he posted, it was about assassination.
That was
about,
I shouldn't even call it a joke.
About the president and vice president, and how it's not even worth assassinating them.
His explanation was that, when he told the joke in person, a bunch of people laughed at it, and it's like, that's the difference between in person and it's like, imagine,
were they on your payroll?
Yes, no, 100%. Like, who else would be around the guy? Like, so like, imagine the circle of people that's around him that is reinforcing that he is a funny person. Like, that's I would rather fuck Bill Belichick. Like, I would personally rather be Bill Belichick's girlfriend as a come up than pretending that Elon Musk is funny, bro. I just like,
I felt like that was just a perfect encapsulation of his whole Twitter experience. Like, people in his real life circle who are dependent on him and tell him how great and smart and funny he is. And then you come to Twitter and millions of people are telling you how much of a fucking idiot you are. You know what I'm saying? That was just a perfect encapsulation of the ride that he's been on since he rose to prominence as the Twitter owner.
Yes. Jackson, who's your?
I didn't wait before I give you mine. I didn't realize he tweeted the joke like he wrote it out.
Yeah, no, I think he tweeted the video.
He tweeted, okay, because did you guys see the original time he told the joke was not to his family and friends or his inner circle.
It was Tucker Carlson.
It was to Tucker Carlson on their like interview, whatever their video, Tucker Carlson's video show, and even Tucker Carlson kind of briefly was like what? And then he because he has worms in his brain, was like, well, yeah, I mean that's so true, ha ha ha. But like even he at first was like, okay.
I deleted enough of that from my brain. I thought he wrote it out. I'm remembering the Tucker Carlson clip. That's Great stuff. Jackson, your Dookie Butt of the week.
My Dookie Butt of the week is Novak Djokovic. He didn't do anything crazy dramatic, but I was
a lot of tennis talk on the pod today.
I was doom scrolling the other day, and I came across a TikTok of him in a bright green, like neoprene sweatsuit type of thing, dancing to "In My Feelings" by Drake, and the caption just says Novak Djokovic.
Oh,
that's the whole thing.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
See,
that's how you know you don't have any.
Between...
yeah. Well, and that's how you know you don't have enough people around you who will tell it like it is.
Because it's like that is so 2023. Bro.
There's no way that his social media like doesn't go, like there isn't someone else who sees it before it gets posted. Like no celebrity that big just has like unilateral access to their social media. So someone saw that and thought, yeah, I'm just gonna let him go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna let him go ahead with that one.
Josh Rodriguez, who's stepping in for John, who's out with a computer on the DL. Josh, who's your Dookie Butt of the week?
My Dookie Butt of the week is every single Republican politician who denies the fact that this hurricane is a natural occurrence of just like climate change and thinks that this is a government conspiracy to affect red cities and states, which is like absolutely insane.
This is a real thing. I just want to, because some of these conspiracies obviously are sort of like, you know, people are doing them for the lulz or whatever. People really believe that the hurricane is like people would like, if you put a gun to their head, they'd be like, yes, I think that the government made the hurricane.
Yes.
That's scary, bro.
Yes.
It is really scary.
Yeah. Also, for anybody who's listening, if you just want to be objective with things, just go and just take a look at who votes for like funding for FEMA and things of that nature. I'm not going to do the research for you. I want you to do it yourself. So before you complain about government funding and lack of funds or where they're going, just know how people vote and in which way they vote before you speak.
Mine was going to be Elon, and then I was going to pick also a political one, but I'm just going to say, I'm just for a change of pace, I'm going to have my Dookie Butt be Aaron Rodgers for getting a man with 7 kids fired because you had the hubris to think that at 40 plus years old, you could come back from a freaking ACL with nothing but ayahuasca in a dream and be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You are the Dookie Butt of the week, my friend. Absolutely not.
Yeah, think about those 7 kids. Now, we can't say that he's taking, you know, food out of their mouth, but still, think about this.
But they're going to get made fun of at school, and it's going to be Aaron Rodgers' fault.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. All right, that's a good collection of Dookie Butts. That is all the time we got. We will be back on Claire. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. That was so fun. Even though it's obviously more fun when John is there for the entire episode, it was still really fun.
I feel like you got a quintessential classic Jenkins and Jones moment with John's computer dying in the middle.
That was my hazing.
We will be back on Thursday with our Love is Blind recap. So thanks so much to everyone listening on the pod or listening at youtube.com/@JenkinsandJones. We appreciate you, and we will see y'all on Thursday. Bye.
Bye.